Yes, what is it?
What? What did you say? I can't hear you! The music is too loud! Oh, the project! It's not going well! There's that guy! I need him to plug a 3.5 cable into the auxiliary input so that I can route the audio signal through the mixer into the speakers. Egghead! A 3.5 cable! He doesn't listen to me! He only ever seems to care about hardcore and Yekokata! A place to be, apparently. Thanks. Maybe you can get through his magic rhyme. Let me know how it goes.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore! To the mega! Yeah! I can route it through auxiliary. What kind of a cable does she use? Oh, she uses 3.5. Yeah. The auxiliary lining is 4.5 millimeter. These two...
Oh no, we're going to be in this church forever.
Don't worry, I have an adapter for it right here. Hang on, this is a 4.5. We're all good people!
Whoa, thank God. Adapters noticeably degrade the sound quality.
Great! Someone got through to him. Okay, let's get it all set up. Can we turn the music off, please?
Everybody! Everybody! Don't panic! I'm going to turn off the on for just a sec. For a special scheduled event. The honor will be back, but we're doing something else for one moment. Alright, go tell us that, yeah! Back on the case, no disgrace. Bring it down to party place. The first page of the second chapter.
Could it be, maybe for him, you only have a chapter or two left in you? Last of the penultimate, more like.
Tape! Yeah! Spins the tape until the... Yeah!
Yes, what is it?
Okay, but think you can ask him to turn the volume down a bit? Just in...
Maximum! Maximum is the only...
I know it is, but could you please turn it down just this instance? Just this one time? Maximum is...
Pump it to the brick! Pump it to the hard master! There's no other way! Glue...
Glue style? Okay, there literally is no other way. The mixing desk is glued to max...
See? He pumps it to the hard master. It's hopeless. Because I'm afraid that something might happen. It's an unknown phenomenon. We can always turn it back up if there's a...
Can't turn down the hardcore!
Of course it is.
Yeah! Permanent enlightenment!
Never mind then. Let's get on with our project. I'm going to unmute the speakers on a count of 5. Everyone ready?
Egghead pumps his hand up in the air, waiting for the beat to drop.
Born ready. Ready.
I'm ready if you two are, detectives.
The lieutenant nods stoically. Suddenly, your palms are sweaty. The church seems cold and large.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mute disengaged.
No wind outside, no waves, no floorboards creaking. Total, continuous silence. This is unnatural. The woman looks around. In the silence, you see dust move on the floorboards. The driver of the speaker vibrates in the air and then stops. In the silence, a low hum starts creeping up your spine. It's a song inside you, not in the speakers, not in the room. A great bass sigh in the basement of your mind. Slowly, it builds until the air around you starts to vibrate. It will devour everything. The floorboards, the glass, the streets and the people. Nothing will remain.
Guys, what's going on? It's getting louder.
In the basins, the water looks like it's boiling.
Hosiana! Mother of Mega!
In his mind, a tidal wave approaching from afar, swallowing entire coastlines on its way. Salvation.
The beauty and the beat! The future of dance! Planetary!
No, Egg! It's the window!
In the corner of your eye, the lieutenant steps aside, cautiously, his eyes searching for a possible...
The window is going to come down. No, the roof!
Cracks appear on the stained glass window. Cracks run up the wooden pillars.
Come down to earth!
It's shaking the building's foundation. The floor twists. A great pulse arises in your flesh.
That's it. I'm muting it. Shit! It doesn't stop. A seal? Have you?
Yes, I've turned it off! Andre, pull the compressor! The place is gonna come down!
Fuck! I can't shut it up. The signal's passed. It's not in here. It's...
In the mixing desk now, building into a positive feedback loop. This is it. A great roar. The vault of the roof twists above you. Glass shatters somewhere near the door. It's coming down. And then it stops. Totally and utterly. As if there never was a sound. Only your ears still ring from the shock. Everybody is staring at Egghead, holding a dangling cable in his hand. A black 3-pin connector.
Egg.
I pulled the plug. It was getting too hardcore. You did good, Egg. Most of the place seems to be intact. Fucking hell. Programmer lady, tell me you were recording that.
4 years. 22 people. Millions of reals. All that time. This is what we were up against. Just erased it. Suliswolf isn't gonna believe this.
Yeah, but did you record it though? It was dope. I think we can use it.
Yes, Andre. I recorded it. Damn, I need to send some letters now. Thank you all for doing this. Eggman, you too. And you, officer. I don't know what we've discovered, but I know what it sounds like now. That's a start.
It was very hard not to. I think you're right. There is something going on here. And you need to be very...
I promise, officer. We will not play it again. It was mathematical information from the anomaly, presented as a waveform. That's what it was technically. Theoretically, I have no idea. I've never even heard of anything like this.
A voice seems muffled in the silent church. It's your ears.
Yes, our lead designer. And maybe some of the producers too. And some of the writers. If they're sober enough to open a transmission. They need to hear.
That it wasn't her fault. Or theirs.
They need to hear about this. Don't worry. I won't send the recording, although I doubt they have the speakers to produce the frequency anyway. Stay here! I'm going to stay here with these lunatics. Send letters, maybe meet Suliskov. Also devise further measurements.
I want you to know that's totally...
I don't care, but thank you anyway.
That's the best she can manage for Andre. It's quite a...
Now, I have a theory to come up with. Some kind of preliminary explanation to all this. Or the letter will sound like I've lost my mind.
Yes, and we have to get back to stabilizing Martinez. Instead of demolishing it with loud bass noise of unknown or...
You have an explanation for all this. Somewhere deep in you. You don't know enough about the world. But that Joyce, if you knew all she knows, could put it together.
Yes?
Welcome back. Sure. You helped us out. I can repay the favour. Ah, she's a bit odd, I have to say. Doesn't talk much. I'm not really sure how to vibe with her, you know? Seems like she's not in a very good mood most of the time. But earlier today she told me about Welkins. And she seemed oddly happy, like she had some idea with those little creatures. Some artistic idea. I didn't really listen, I was busy with my mic. Oh, the crab man. Still gives me the creeps the way he moves. But he doesn't actually come down that much, just climbs around the raft. I just try to stay away from the crab man. But he talks to Noid. They seem to have some thing beats me. Noid said they get along somehow. They're both crazy enough, I guess. Who knows? He doesn't really answer our questions, see? Not that it's easy to ask them. What are we supposed to do, yell up at the tower? Who do you want to know about? Andre? He's a cool guy. Doesn't really come off as one, but he is. To me, at least. He takes care of shit. Sorry. I mean, he's got a vision. For what life should be, you know? He tries to push things until everything falls into place. He's an organiser. Nothing. But then again, there's nothing to organise around here either. He really wants this church thing to work. Must have taken it as a sign when he found it abandoned like that. said it was an augury. I don't know where he got that from. Andre's not super intelligent. I've never seen him so psyched about anything though. And he's often psyched. Looks sort of desperate, like it's his last chance or something. Or maybe he was just... I mean, not that he does drugs, just high, you know? Yes. Anyway, yes. Who do you want to know about? Andre, he takes care of shit. Who do you want to know about? He's a four-burger, I guess, like the rest of us. Okay, maybe not Egg, I don't know about him, but Noid and the rest are from Forburg, making the pilgrimage up north to visit the... He's real hardcore about the lifestyle. What do you mean do? Like for a living? He's a carpenter, trained and all. He's very good, he just doesn't have the mindset to work like that. He abides by the hardcore, sir. You would have... Sir, I abide by the law.
A strange feeling, like before, when you caught her lying better than she should have. Every now and then something feels off about the way she speaks. She doesn't exactly change tone, but you feel as though there's more about her that she lets...
It's just something poor Forburg kids do every spring. To pass the time, we walk the entire length of Boogie Street, up to Jamrock. I don't know, man. Have you been down Boogie Street? It's a little bewildering. Okay, then you should go and take a look, I guess. Boogie Street is cool. It's got a lot of immigrants and all kinds of different people. Yeah. Who do you want to know about? What do you mean? Oh, that. He's the party boy. And Nordic music doesn't really do vocals in the traditional sense. Vocals are thought of as rock. That's to say they're a bit backward. No offence if you like rock music though. Rock music's cool by me.
Pachoo, swish. Your credentials as the resident future man of Revachol are being questioned. Show her you're hip with the times, Gramps.
Anyway, even if you don't have vocals, you still need someone to say something every now and then, right? To urge things on. That's where... He basically just stands on the stage and dances and yells how awesome everything is.
I understand. People are usually afraid to do things if others aren't already doing them. Dancing makes you dance, like sneezing makes you sneeze, or yawning makes you... Anyway.
Actually, we don't know where he's from. One time we were out partying somewhere in backwater Forburg. Or maybe...
The worst of the Banlieues. A wretched heap of closed-down mines, even west of Jamrock, on the dusty slope of Montmartin, the remotest possible area of Revachol. No one even wants to exploit those people.
Egg was yelling along to some jam someone was spinning, all night long. Just kept yelling until he didn't have a shred of voice left. When the sun came up over the mines... There were mines? Yeah, it was in Coal City. Egg came with us. He made this wheezing puppy dog sound all the way back. It was definitely Coal City, because it took us 2 days to walk back to the fort. He just wheezed the whole way. We never really asked why he came with us, or who he was. I think his name is Jermaine. People are sweet.
You can see it must have been a great night. The memory causes her to go silent. You wish you'd been there.
Who do you want to know about? Me? Again? I told you.
There's that phrase again. Really reminds you of something.
It means I don't answer questions about myself. All right. There is. Is there a law that would...
That would depend on the circumstances.
Thank you. Sure.
The light vanishes inside the concrete slit. The structure goes deep under the earth. Maybe it's just a storm drain for the sewer.
No idea. Could be connected to one of the buildings around here. We might find her down somewhere. There's an old storm drain system beneath Martinez that's mostly collapsed. In conclusion, she could be under any... I hope not.
There's no echo.
Hello again.
You see, a once bright mural towering up. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains.
It looks like tomorrow never came.
Above the mural, a collapsed roof, broken windows set in walls that are cracking and will soon also fall, and the coastal breeze rustling and sighing. Feld Electrical. How ironic. Or Feld Electrical, you only know them as a small company that makes ink cartridges. Looks like they used to be, but there's something in the wind. Sometimes the only way to go forward.
In there? She could. Or she could be in the identical room over there, or in that boat shack.
Why single out this one building? There's some tear.
Hello, mister. Bye.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days.
The lieutenant also nods. It is quite a scene. The two of you, two officers of the law against the world, nodding in unison. It is your source of power. The lieutenant is nodding so hard it looks like his head is about to snap off his neck. The lieutenant matches your nodding pace. He's a true professional. The nodding's reaching critical mass. You can't take this much longer, Captain. A small bead of sweat runs down the side of the lieutenant's face as he maintains his nodding. As the lieutenant takes out her handkerchief and softly taps the sweat off his temple, a faint crack echoes through the coast. Abort! Abort! No.
Busted the neck, did you? Glad I stopped when I did. My neck was really starting to hurt. Don't worry, little man. Now we should get going.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from a row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner. Automatic rifles prime. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. The sun blazes high up in the sky, baking the planks, the sand, your skin. The order was carried out in the afternoon. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only a host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. Ordinary people, familiar, each and every one of them. Collateral damage on the path toward normalcy and progress. Such is your belief, officer. Maybe you should change it. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? Men of duty, dark duty. In all truth, violence offers no answer. It's only the last available resort when all mediation fails. And here, all did fail. The commandant, the one who gives the order, machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved, and perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict.
Remember what Trent Heidelstein said about Veld?
Another likely scenario.
Or maybe...
Yeah. It's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the war. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant, the superior giving the orders.
A cold sea wind blows. A metal and plastic contraption bobs up and down amidst the trembling reeds. At first, it just looks...
That over there. Must be the boy class you told us about. The one she hid her passport in. We should take a look.
Ooh, hidden things. Secret. You lift the boy out of the water without much effort. It's not tied to anything. The cords dangling from the bottom appear to have been cut. The number 11 has been written on the yellow plastic. It hasn't been in the water for very long, but it's already discolored and slimy with silt. A latch holds it close, but only just barely. The brittle metal of the latch.
Simple construction. Very unsafe.
There's something in there, splashing around. It smells like you would expect it to smell. A concentrated version of the coast. Salt, industrial slop and decay. A shot glass's worth of seawater pours out. Some algae, and nothing else.
Well, damn. I have no idea. Or think we do. This is a small loose end, either way. Not important, I hope. That may very well be the case. We should keep an eye on her. Nothing more for us to do here.
You could ask the miss what she thinks. Later, if you have the time. Though you doubt she'll tell you much at this point.
We still got here too late. There's nothing of use here anymore.
Go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of...
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Oh no, it's all right. I'm just busy. What's this about? Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
The 881 is a raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass, not like walking over a nice water lock.
Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm...
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary! We can go soon! If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we go in.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns. To be The
lieutenant takes a short note in his notebook, then gestures.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators or scientists in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this a ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodeozoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So, typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly. So yes.
More than some, he admires this about her.
Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps.
Not a big fan of skepticism, this one.
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Yes. What? I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids?
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. Two are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Grad, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves. More so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying.
Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed, my methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen. No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid. Although I have come close, everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the Phasmid, I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places. Yes? All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides again. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
A willow person. It's a long story. One
Willow people? Not at all.
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here. You probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paints. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get... After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow, dashing through the grove. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than...
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
I see you've been talking about cryptids with Lena. The kind green ape is one...
A warm wave passes him. Of course, the kind green ape is her favorite, he thinks.
We travelled to South Safra to look for it once. Gary and I got stuck in a rainstorm though, and had to spend most of our time there in a little village. The search was fabulously unsuccessful, but the people were very nice. I'm glad they didn't understand what Gary was...
What? South Safra? They're just on a different rung of the ladder, Morale. I had no problem with them.
Really? You kept complaining about how dirty everything is, but we digressed.
They're a nascent culture. I just didn't feel comfortable. And let's change the topic, okay? Talk about your critters, or whatever.
Yes, back to cryptozoology. You don't want to sow disagreement between friends.
No offence, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence. By all means. And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the Phasmid somehow.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell.
Needless to say, you must ask.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian Phasmid together. I can't abandon course now. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the Phasmid were to starve while we were sitting?
He's dead set on the... I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Why not? At least it will give us the excuse to look into a lot.
That it will. That it absolutely will. I hope you brought your good boots. Bring it to me at once.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry. That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mix. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week. Wise choice.
I hope you're not buying this. It dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the water.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talked.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask.
Hello, I'm Gary. Yellow Man. I mean...
The lieutenant raises his eyebrow. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something...
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates.
Degenerates? This man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
Oh, I've been tempted. but someone has to stay strong for Revocol.
He pronounces Revocol with a hard K. Serious question time. This man is no innocent. No one is.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that.
He's not feeling very comfy in his clothes. He didn't kill him or anything. But there's something going on here.
My mug? Why would you think that? Really? I hear it all the time. All in jest, of course. No offense meant to anyone. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer. You're not going to find me, are you? Whew. Thank you. You won't regret this. I won't use another man's property to dump my I don't know what got into me, really. Work has been stressful lately. Damn Koiko's price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions. I know a guy who works with the trash collection services. CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez. So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Hemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't.
Disgraced. No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags, because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads against one another as they roll across air.
What sound? Really? There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. Insects, trash, could be the wind shifting some garbage near armor. No. I mean, yes, of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't...
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. There's something going on here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is complete.
I hope I can help your investigation, in my small way. No. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way, but I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own.
After all this time with Morel, he must have an opinion on cryptids. This could lead to a good one.
Oh, yes, the burning rhino. Morel doubts he's real, but I don't much care, because I won't be the one looking for it out in Safra Sarai. A rhinoceros that looks ordinary during the day, but burns brightly by night. Well, at least the males do. They have special ducts just above their shoulder blades that secrete a combustible fluid. When the rhino is just beginning to light itself, it looks as though it has wings of fire.
But how is this combustible fluid lit?
The rhino starts running very fast to build heat, then stops, raises its head, and sparks fly from its neck, setting its back ablaze.
We don't really do that around here.
Perhaps we should have more such decisive action in Revacon. You know, this city used to be a flaming rhino once, a long time ago. They have special ducts.
But how is this combustible?
The flames are not just for decoration. They are an integral part of the beast's mating behavior. During the burning rhino's mating season, herds of male rhinos, all aflame, encircle herds of female rhinos, forming a fiery ring. As they local peasants call it the passion ring. They fear the rhinos, as perhaps they should.
The lieutenant sighs, without looking up. It's clear the burning rhino is dear to him on many levels, some even spiritual.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next races will be a really good one? Well, this is that racist.
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact. No problem at all.
Sounds like some conspiracy topic. You might be able to discuss it with him when the lieutenant isn't here, if you can remember it.
I like to pronounce it the hard way, the old way, the Vesper time.
The stupid way. He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message, inviting you to mispronounce it too, perhaps. It's a secret rite, a very fringe nationalist handshake, probably.
Always a pleasure. I mean, officers.
That shirt looks very uncomfortable on him. Look at the buttons, barely keeping that thing together, as if something is ready to rip out from under. No, he's scrawny. Try again. Yes, like a piece of ceramic armor, for example. One that makes a clicking sound when the plates meet each other, resembling pearls or marbles, stolen from the corpse in the yard near where he lives.
I knew you'd figure it out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once. I was ashamed of what I did, and I didn't want you to know.
We're not detecting falsehood, sire. He's gearing up. This shame is surprisingly sincere.
Gary, what's going on?
Later, Morale. I've got apologizing to do.
No, you've got explaining to do.
Because I was weak. I should have told you the moment I saw you. But
The hell, Gary? You in trouble?
I'll explain later. Everyone was picking those pieces off him, and I was watching them do it. And they'd scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling. So I went there to take out the trash and started cleaning up. All those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and I had a lapse of honor, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left. So I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. I took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known it'd give you guys trouble, I wouldn't have... Fuck.
We're detecting sincere contrition here, sire. He's not trying to flip.
It's okay. It was a loose end, and you are tying it up now.
I'm so fucking sorry I called you Yellow Man. Sealite officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when...
They were thoroughly conservative men. It's difficult to say what the lieutenant thinks of this historic apology. His face does not belie emotions.
I always thought it was the Union. Some Union hardasses lynched him because of the strike. But almost everyone in town knows that. I wish I could tell you more.
This is all he knows. He sighs again, hangs his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view, but so light to hold, like a bag of cotton.
Yes, absolutely. I will never do anything like this again. Always a pledge. I mean, officers.
We'll be on our way soon. Thank you again. Hell no. I had no idea. And I'm still cross with him, to be honest. It's not like him. He's got his quirks, but dishonesty, disloyalty are not one of them.
Thanks.
He's still glad his friend stood up for him. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel behind you. A ruined residential building looms over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. They rustle confidentially, in tune with the pitter-patter. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous...
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. Surely. Anyway, the air is nice and fresh here.
familiar apparatus lies among the reeds. Another one of the reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze. What the wind picks up here, near the Cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any
Another empty trap. Always up for a good job. Otherwise, would I still be on this case with you?
This trap's not too hard to spot, once you know what to look for. Keeping it hidden has not been a priority for the reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks seem like a rebuke. The sound of the city hums, the constant, distant song. Louder on this, nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done. No, I'm fine. I didn't mean to complain, it's just...
The reeds bend, the constant. This is the last of the traps. The one more up the reeds by the abandoned campsite. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. You feel straight. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here. No locust. No phasmid either, but still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there, I just see an empty trap. We did sort of promise to tell them, didn't we?
A cold gust of air dries your sweaty face, and you look to the dark shadow, the felled building in the distance, drawing you to it. The reeds by the abandoned campsite hiss and shake. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. You feel...
Hi, gendarme. Another rendezvous. I am. So are you. What brings you here? Admiring the atmosphere. What about you, officer? Well, here's to you. Oh yes, let's see. He knocked on my door a few days after the lynching. I think he was going through the entire... Nothing. That I didn't see anything. Why shouldn't he? What friend? No, I don't think it came up. Muscular, handsome, strong, like one of those military types. Yes, but he was speaking to someone on his earpiece. Yes, you know those tiny speaker microphones that fancy security guards sometimes, just reporting back whatever I was telling him. Oh, let me think. He had an accent. He sounded like one of those mercenaries. He sounded vaguely Oranese. No, not vaguely, scratch that. He sounded definitely Oranese. Sure. Anything else on your mind? You did? And how did you like him? I told you, he can be very useful. I guess that's the charm of powerful people. A visitor from the first world. He's not like you and me, gendarme. He can always return. To his opportunities in Occident, sur la clé. Still, his coming and going brings some life to the village. Or is it just money? I don't know. Friends, I told you. Sunday friends. Friends who like to get together from time to time. Bet he won't be there when times get tough, I guess. It is. On Sundays. He has keys. And he likes the view. To the sea, I mean. Hmm? What about me, gendarme? Bye-bye, gendarme.
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Mexican origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull. But you could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear it.
Ramblings. Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise.
Darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
Measuring things is important. How did she get...
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on. Tell our friend about it.
That is a way bigger compliment than it sounds like. Reflexively, the lieutenant...
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
She'd just started forming memories. Real memories. Not the billowy haze of infanthood. Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there, knee-deep in mud. Look.
Where did you go?
I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but for years it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
So that's how they met. This is beyond significant for them.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour, how some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
Our first, yes.
The glance is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express, even to him. Interesting.
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably...
What if it is the case?
I thought it was a wonderful story, man.
But I don't believe it. A child left unattended on a warm day. Children make up stories and then end up believing them.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just... such an impossibly...
And she could get up and walk right into the reeds on her own. Into the mud. Anywhere.
Oh, hello, sweet.
You know, to hell with it. Let's have more cryptids.
Of course, officers. Is there a particular cryptid you two are interested in learning about? No. It's the cryptid. Oh, yes. The eight-eyed Teratorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters. It was thought to have gone extinct 3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real.
Mutation? All of evolution is a mutation.
Until it was sighted by renowned Gotvaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21.
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalogue comes up completely empty. But, of course, you are not all-knowing.
It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Oamrau Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm. The world's largest canyon system, sweetie. It's a barren waste east of the Erg Desert, an ancient riverbed completely dried up. Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years, since the fall of Pericarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great black bird, it seemed gargantuan. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. But by the time Uva got there, the Teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. Yes, or rather, hunting. A bird that big has a lot of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plottenkalk followed the Teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall where the bird finally, Professor, climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with his head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch. So he approached. Then the Teratorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider. And the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. Whatever he did, he could not get. The bird was controlling his mind. It kept him from approaching. He could step back. Every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uva spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away. The 8-eyed Teratorn was indifferent to him, as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. It even let him feed on some carcasses up there, and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind. Absolutely, sweetie. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since, but Wamrao is vast, mysterious.
Modern radar telemetry shows great promise. We will confirm this one by the end of the decade.
This one I liked. Not only does it have 8 eyes, and is a living fossil, and the largest bird ever to live, it also does mind control.
He's sincere. He likes the audacity of it.
Sadly, yes, but there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Il Mara. And then there's the striking resemblance to the Pericarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol that is...
Not really. It's just stylization. The way they drew eyes. It's not a zoological drawing.
Very.
This one's very famous. Everyone knows it. People will be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. So, what else do you want to know? Of course, dear.
Always a pleasure to see an officer of the law. I mean, officers.
Nothing like the gratitude of a good woman.
He tries to play it cool, remain professorial, but inside, this man is itching.
Good. Okay. And? Completely empty?
No locusts?
That's not ideal, but... I definitely left that one stocked.
Right from the campsite? Just...
She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should...
Of course, more clever.
You're dealing with a subject near and dear to their hearts. It might behove you to tread light.
Yes, the Phantasmadeia picked off the locusts and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the...
Another trip to the Reeds.
Of course we have.
Wait, Morel. He may have a point. We have an obligation to rule out other...
You're right, dear. It's a fair point. But what other explanation? Pardon me. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now. And brought some great news too. My gratitude and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation.
helping cryptozoologists isn't really a priority for our organization. Damn it, Lieutenant. Have you no intellectual curiosity?
Hello. Lena and I were just discussing the design of the new trap.
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person. Hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno.
A little hooligan. But what would a child...
Oh, my dear Morel. You've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
Delinquents, my favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please, let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
After this is your last chance to...
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it. Morel, it's been fun. Really. But I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologise, Gary. You'd be more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though. Wigan?
The first man to break formation is always a blow to leadership. This is bigger than he lets on.
Always a pleasure. I mean, officers.
Hello, officer.
Oh, hello, sweetie.
Fuck, does Kuno care? No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about books.
So he knows locusts are bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, see.
Now they're gonna take you to lame prison!
She sounds like she's about to cry, out of disappointment at Kuno's newfound lameness.
Deny everything, Kuno.
You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
Lame. That rings some bells. Could this be connected to Night City? AKA the City.
Oh God, Kuno, no! It's gonna happen now. They're gonna make you laugh.
Stop it, see? No one's gonna make anyone lame. Kuno's got this.
There's definitely something going on here. You should check out Kuno's shack.
Kuno doesn't.
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising. Accommodations for their insectoid inhabitants.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well. Yes, I feel we are nearing a real breakthrough. If anything, the presence of the locust points to the opposite. The phasmid did not take the bait from the traps. It was Kuno. The phasmid doesn't exist. But what do I know?
Use your powers of deduction. You knew the magic bug was nowhere near here. The phasmid is impairing your judgment.
I'll let you handle the Kuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
Fuck, does Kuno care? Yeah. Kuno took the bugs, so what?
So it wasn't the phasmid. A wave of disappointment washes over you.
It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends.
Stop!
Locusts coming down like a shadow. This must be the Night City he mentioned when you asked him where he's been.
Yeah, Locust City. City of rage. City of lights.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his The girl forces herself to watch again. The corners of her eyes twitching from disgust.
Kuno, the pig wants to help you. Oh, that's how lame it is. Please just don't...
An artist? Maybe I am an artist. You hear that, everyone? I'm a fucking artist.
Did he just say I? Kuno usually calls Kuno, Kuno.
Kuno made Kuno. Kuno says whatever the fuck he wants. There are no rules here, pig. I fucking say I when I wanna, and Kuno when I wanna. Kuno's free. Kuno's free to fucking die, bitch.
This is what he sometimes does when things get tense.
Oh my God, Kuno! He's gonna make you totally lame in, like, 3 seconds! Don't let him, Kuno!
Yo, fuck you, see? Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free. Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a... Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno! You'll have to take me away!
So that's what this is about. Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now. with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. Use this momentary confusion to take control of the... You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
It don't mean anything. It's shit. Kuno just likes to focus. Kuno likes to concentrate on shit. Build shit when he's zipping hard. Fuck. Pig, you really shouldn't have fucked with Kuno City. Now it's all fucking lame. I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. C was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence. Just long enough to make eye contact with... She doesn't know whether to be glad because Kuno's finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first person singular. Kuno is Kuno, not I.
Kuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps?
He recognizes the name.
Bitches think Kuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Kuno's tired of this shit.
There's silence between the two children. They're not saying anything to each other, nor looking in each other.
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. A new trap design, that is. So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. A hidden worry. Something is secretly gnawing at her confidence. It's not this Kuno kid, or the missing locust.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time.
He has a 38-degree fever. His resilience has given way.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick.
You're right, you're right. We can come back next season, when it's warmer.
That's just something people tell themselves when they fail. There won't be a next season. Not for this. Find a phasmid or admit defeat, people.
We are getting really carried away with this, aren't we? Fine, it's better than having these people get pneumonia on the coast. But after this...
He wants to see this tale through, as much as you. Otherwise, he'd have stopped this already. But he cannot let it...
Really? It's too much, officer.
What Morel means is we're grateful for your help.
Here's a fresh fractured locust. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but...
This would show them all. We need to get you on that list of discoverers. The trap stands empty near the reeds. The locusts aren't doing all too well, but they're still in there. This isn't. The trap stands empty. The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good, now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
He doesn't want to, but if there is one more cryptozoological runaround, he must force the investigation back on track. This better be it. All the traps are stopped now, and still no sight of...
Hello, dear. Thank you for doing that, dear.
Her smile is weary. Her earlier ebullience has left her.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game.
Her voice is shaky. What is going on here?
Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this?
Different? How?
Answering a question with a question, for example. Defensive isn't her usual style.
I'm in doubt, sweetie. It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer.
And when a police officer asks, you must answer.
Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real. Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
A terrible sting in the heart. Regret.
No, sweetie. There's more to it than that. Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the Phasmid's existence, that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That, and for years his belief made me believe too.
That I am a queen? An extraordinary witness to great.
But now, we're both getting old and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong?
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write. He's hiding. These things are tough on him. Matters of love, not violence or deceit. An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care. All qualities these two seem to share in abundance.
But it is. We've spent years searching for the Phasmid, hunting it together. Without it, what are we? Just another pathetic old couple. If I hadn't led him down this path, he could have a steady job lecturing at a university.
You know, this reminds you of the Pericanassian theory of love. In essence, love is a relay out of death. Generation by generation, our love remains in our progeny. Lay some of that on her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't think the Pericarnassians were thinking of people in my situation. I was a paraplegic before we met. He didn't know before I arrived, on our first date. If I weren't the queen of the cryptozoologists,
She has to swallow to relax her throat. It's keeping her from talking.
I've wasted enough of your time with this drama. I really must stop talking about it lest I start crying and waste. What you have to know is the Insulindian Phasmid probably does not exist. Let us fools chase our ghosts. There are millions.
Are there? Some of the other things are pretty bad.
A true believer. Sometimes I still see it too. The real memory of it, how it was there. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart.
Rising, unfolding from the reeds on a hot summer's day, like a benevolent.
Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad.
Really?
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel.
No one can stop you from finding the Phasmid.
Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road. Jamrock, but...
A sigh. She doesn't think you'll need it.
Likewise, sweetie. Thank you for everything. Truly. Even though it turned out to be a
waste of time. A dream. A lie. Like that, she drives off. The gas tank utters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, it's snowing.
We should go to...
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness, to ask the wind once more. Fairweather T500. Remember that weakness you were looking for in the ceramic armor? Like, maybe it can only stop small, fast projectiles, but a large, slow-moving pry bar would shatter it? Or, if I run an electrical current through it, maybe it will melt. Or, personal favorite, frequency something something radio weapon? None of that would work. You need to shoot the part of the enemy that doesn't have Fairweather T500 on it, because the armor itself is invulnerable. Good news is, so are the armor pieces on you. A few locusts trudge along the wall of the trap. The rest are piled in a heap in the corner, dead. No phasmid, any poor things. A few poor things. The trap is filled with dead and dying locusts. Most of them aren't moving. Poor things. Just dead and dying locusts, and the slow swaying of surrounding poor things. The trap is full of locusts, but they seem weak and unhealthy. Poor things.
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation. I really don't know, sir. I certainly don't feel like I've won. I feel like shit, sir.
She smiles, a bitter little smile. She means it.
Clearly, I haven't. We're having this conversation, aren't we? How well could it have gone, I mean?
The wet wind, heavy with brine and industrial pollution.
I'm stuck in Martinez just like all of us. I've been up here for... I don't know how long now. For my sins, of course. The long-standing sins of a bad, frivolous person. For destroying my first love. For working for bad people. The list goes on and on. Did I? Why do I still feel suspicion hanging over me then? What I managed was to get him killed.
The lieutenant looks away. He feels uncomfortable with this conversation. He doesn't know what to add.
I don't know what to say. None of this is fortuitous for me.
She nods, slowly. There is suddenly a strange glint in her eyes. No.
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is. Oh.
Did you take the document?
No, of course not. As I said, it would have been too risky for me to use those documents anyway. My employer gave them to me. In truth, I should have destroyed them.
She doesn't seem to be lying. She's genuinely spooked by their disappearance.
They couldn't know where I put it. I'm absolutely sure I was not followed. And I've told no one. You mentioned seawater? I was worried I'd been too careless with the latch. The documents were probably just washed away.
The words, washed away, sound distant and strange suddenly. The same small, heavy door, no lock in sight.
Hey, was there something you...
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme. Hi again, gendarme.
Could he be a member of the homosexual underground? Just pointing it out. We're not talking about some kind of cult with members here. You made it up.
The homosexual underground? Why, yes, I am, officer. Why? Do you want to investigate? Oh, it's a pleasure group. A Sub Rosa pleasure group congregating in cellars under the cover of night. Saturday night. Sometimes even Friday night. Or Thursday night. Sometimes the congregating doesn't even end. It carries on into our daily life. Oh, we're ambitious. We want to destroy the last vestiges of meaning, the last things people in Rebishol have to hold on to, the true symbols of security. The meaning of man and woman, mother and father, their marriage. Everything will be constantly shifting and moving under our rule. The future will belong to a circus of identities just spinning around, surreal and unreal. You won't even know who you are anymore. Yes, we listen to a lot of disco. Some say we engineered disco to spread our vision of a vertiginous, ever-changing society, where all there is a razzle. We are going to change the family unit with all this razzmatazz and finger dancing. And with mysteries, of course the mysteries are also of sexual nature. You can't just get into it. You have to be born into it. One is either already in the homosexual movement, or forever excluded from it. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's exactly what we're looking for. Who knows, maybe you were homosexual in the past. Maybe all of that has been repressed. I have to say that you do look like someone who might be part of the underground. You have that very distinctive, I can't understand what's going on here look. Absolutely wonderful.
A man like you can figure out his sexuality in a working day. It won't be 20 hours unless you want to enter the heightened...
Bye-bye, gendarme.
An old monument stands in the mid. A matrix of metal tubes and wooden planks jut out at odd angles. A miserable tarpaulin covers up the horse and rider, flapping in the cold coastal. There are no lights that spell out your name. No workers with calloused hands leering from above. The old king looks defiantly to the west, wrapped in makeshift scaffolding. A silver plaque, not a good track. This found A to Z. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. You close the rust. The woman is still hunched. Two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman having sex. A ray of backward motion explodes from his mouth to the roof outside, A prime, to then widen into a radius of locations in Martinez, B prime, B double prime, and B triple prime. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into there could have been 72%. The lights were on in here. That's a 28%. Yes. In 700 meters away. The likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the 1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions, let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. Indeed, there was no evidence of a sniper's nest in that location. The distance is too great, and water vapor would have made the shot almost impossible. One kilometer away, an unlikely point of origin. Beyond the docks somewhere, on an islet in the Bay of Martinez perhaps. There are islets there, badly charted as they may be. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions. There could 72%. The lights were on, that's a 28%, yes. In this, two neon-lit shapes. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled... There it is again. The scent of apricots with a touch of cinnamon. Yes, from the height of antiquity. A long, long time ago. Millennia ago. On an island of time you can never return to. The sun sets into the sea, but the water does not boil. Instead, it turns to liquid gold. For a moment, the world's store of precious metals seems to increase dramatically, and there is a movement next to you. The shuffle of a small coat, warm like the evening. But when you turn toward it, why are you talking to a gum wrapper? Bitter, citrus, sweet. It seems to grow stronger, like a glow, with every breath you take. Whatever petrochemical byproducts they used to create this artificial flavor have bonded tightly to the wrapper. Or is that just until a blossom of skin and flower petals erupts behind your closed eyes? Made of tough, feels so familiar. The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just, even though you're sure you succeeded, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brushing against your forehead, no rustle in the reeds. The wind has died down. The ruin in front of you is silent as a tomb. Trying to talk to the wind, the city, whatever you thought would happen, did not. And now you're just standing there in the dusk hour, with your hands fallen to your side. Is trying to talk to the city something you've done before? Is it in your secret repertoire? A trick for when you're out of ideas? A prayer of sorts to Revachol.
How do we? I was really hoping she'd be in the village. Okay. She's probably north of the village, and this place is a peninsula. We already scanned most of the outdoor areas on our wild cryptid hunt, so we have an understanding of the geography, at least. And then there's the church. We've already searched that and can rule it out. I know it doesn't feel like progress, but exclusion is a step too. Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way. Sector by sector. Go over the whole peninsula, ask the locals, enter the places where we can enter first, like we did in the village. Then, if we're desperate, we can look where we can't enter. Bunkers, storm drainage, this place. I'm sure it won't come to that.
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back here and talk to the wind again. Look where it already got you. The once bright mural towers above you, a breeze, like a quiet go to the children of the big sea. The wind rushes away, leaving you where you were.
Officer, are you okay? It looked like we lost you for a second. Okay, when you're ready, officer.
The once bright mural towers above you, set. The once bright mural towers above you. Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath. In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay, why? Right. How do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically. Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
An old pipe peeks out from beneath the rotting boards of the boardwalk. Could this be an alternative path? A building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions. Your eyes slowly begin to adjust to the darkness inside the drainage pipe. The lieutenant looks over your shoulder. At first, you can't make anything out in the darkness at all. As your eyes adjust, you see some trash, crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts. Someone has half-heartedly spray-painted and nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe.
Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, it's highly unlikely, and not without risk to our health either. However, the pipe suggests there may be an entrance to the basement around.
He means the pipe must be coming from somewhere in the building. The lieutenant's face lights up. He doesn't usually notice these little things.
And it's right here, a maintenance door.
A rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. Some of the rungs are missing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground, and you're 180? Not to mention that the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. What if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder? Astral projection. Be open-minded about this.
Teleportation is not a thing. This really has nothing to do with adventure. We are dealing with basic physics here. Oh yes, it could hurt. A lot.
He is restraining himself from using a parental tone with you right now. The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. All you need to is zoot, zap, pow, crinkle. It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Okay, well, that's impressive, but...
BAM! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
You know, for the record, you didn't teleport there. You just climbed the ladder with your eyes closed.
The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly.
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring with a backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
What do you mean who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
The doors seem to be on rails, but they've gotten jammed. You grab a side and put some strength into prying it open. With the help of your partner, the two metal panels slide open with a...
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that. Yes, time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
Could this have been the killer's hideout? And this narrow window, the point of origin of the shot that killed the mercenary? The lights of Martinez shine coolly in the clear night.
It's a great place to hide, certainly. But there hasn't been anyone here in ages. Indeed, no one could get a clear view. Well, at least we've been thorough.
The lieutenant's voice betrays a slight disappointment, which he glosses over by reasserting control. A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. A plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand. Grains stick into the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope.
Yes, looks like some latter-day radicals were hiding out here. They left a long time, half a century. This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing. I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then. We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers. I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case. Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff. You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
This hat is so soft, so warm. It wraps around your head. And your Kraz Mazov would have worn this, Yushenka. Mazov knew where to cook those thoughts. That's why. Glory to the revolution, comrade. Whether you like it or not, wearing this hat has made you more.
Yes? What do you want to know? What's there to say? It's just the cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here. And now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest, with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary. Somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are two columns. One says, cases solved. The other, confirmed kills. It's all part of the master plan, you see.
A good joke.
He does not actually think it was a good joke.
If it helps you work better, okay. See it as competition. But don't expect me to. Was there anything else you wanted to ask about the competition?
The rows are endless. Jean Vicmer, Judith Minot, a special consultant. What was his name? Then the rows degrade into your brothers have left you.
Yes. I'm an unrepentant spoilsport. Well, technically, the official record keeper has been known to double count murder-suicides.
A common accounting gimmick used to inflate precinct stats.
I'm good enough for this case. I'm not here to compete. I came because I had to. My fellow officers, the sergeants in particular, would have made this scene into a circus. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist. Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
He's actually glad it's addressed now. Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to slight Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late and argues with his necktie. You weren't.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional. But I also think it's somewhat unlikely. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. I am the finest of nothing. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
He's right. There are no airtight theories, just paranoia. You've given it some no response. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even. A moment passes.
What about me? Good. Let's excuse me. You have a distinctive...
A moment passes. There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange...
No, what do you mean? I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh. Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step. Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do. We'll set in motion events we have no control.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinez. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
Yes. There won't be time for that once things go down. Matter of fact, I don't think that...
If you must.
You're right. However corrupt he may be, nothing happens in Martinez without him knowing. We might have to dirty up.
In this case, we can't afford to be squeaky clean.
You think we should finish running it now? Maybe you're right.
It's a minor point. Don't worry too much about this. There are bigger things.
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
Let's try not to worry. If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of
I
surprise.
wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain, like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
The voice coming through the whirlwind of pain is not malicious. She doesn't want to hurt you, but she doesn't wish to hurt you. Not according to your ear canals. Wait, no, not even your ear canals. This is going directly into your neural pathways. Feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm. Yeah. Screaming, all you feel is pain. Cop suffers final heart attack. A detective lieutenant of the RCM passed away yesterday. His death, though abrupt, did not come as a surprise to those who knew him. He was the heaviest drinker I'd ever met. Captain Ptolemy Price, the deceased superior officer, commented, "That ain't easy on the ticker." He loved his liquor, sure, said Detective Chester McLean. There it is again.
No. What do you mean? I don't feel it, but no.
It's not a quib. He trusts your gut feeling.
Looks like ours. Once we...
You keep calm.
You're right.
In this, if you must.
You think...
It's some...
Well...
Let's, if you can't predict it.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars?
I wouldn't be so sure.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper...
You're back. Good. What can I...
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the same A small cabinet on...
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
A small cabinet on the wall.
Okay, here.
Hey, was there something...
It's getting cold. This late.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
On the table, you see an old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. The expression fixed to your clean-shaven face. You're still not... An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. The An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. The expression. It's like something snaps in you. A nerve ending. A thought. A sadness. Your face in the mirror is suddenly clean of the layer that had distorted it for God knows how long. Just like that, it's over. The running gag that your life had become. A sad old man looks back at you. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, such as it is. A regular, clean-shaven police officer. The bed is comforting. The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you with dig.
How have things been going for you out there? Help.
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer.
Hear that? Iceman wants to sleep. He doesn't care about killing people. That's nothing to him. Black is much, much worse than that.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad.
They're right. This is their function. To keep you from it.
We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from that.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
Oh, but you will. You're already going there. Slipping. How long can we keep you from the precipice? One more drink of hell. An ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later. In front of the video.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the...